Hi guys, first of all, I'm not a journalist. I have no background in journalism. I never studied it or anything like that. But for some reason, I'm able to do a better job than actual journalists. Now, I'm not blowing my own trumpet here. I'm just stating a fact. So Tom Swarbrick was complaining here about people accessing benefits without a medical diagnosis. And he could have done 2 minutes of research to discover the problem with that. Have a listen.
Whoever's in power is going to have to reform this because it's metastasized beyond all belief and recognition. There are now available health benefits for physical ailments, medical conditions for which you do not need a medical diagnosis. Make that make sense to me. I don't understand that. Absolutely more than happy to contribute to the pot for the social security net. Of course, that's the mark of a civilized nation. Of course we should do that. If you fall on tough times, if your health deteriorates, then there should be a pot of money there for you to help you out. Of course, of course, of course. But that you can access, in some cases, up to £60,000 worth of benefits, not cash, for a medical condition for which you do not need a medical diagnosis. Nah, it's gone wrong. It has gone wrong. And the Prime Minister's right to say that.
Okay, so first of all, the over £60,000 that he's talking about, I don't know where he got this figure from, but let's say for the sake of argument it's true. Obviously, this is not one single benefit. It's an accumulation of different benefits. But surely Tom could have done a little bit of research and discovered that there are certain benefits that people receive, even medical benefits, that are not related to a medical diagnosis. So, for example, disability living allowance for children. So children under the age of 16, their parents or their carers receive a disability living allowance. Now, obviously, there's no medical diagnosis of the person receiving the benefit because the person receiving the benefit is providing the care. So what would be the point in carrying out a medical diagnosis on the person receiving the benefit if they're providing care for somebody else? In the same case as attendance allowance for pension-aged claimants with care needs. So there's no diagnosis required because this is based on somebody providing personal care or supervised care to somebody who has a disability or they have some sort of support requirements. So once again, the support goes to somebody who's able-bodied, but they're providing support for somebody else. Now, that's not always the case. There's also industrial injury disabilities benefit, which is for people who have developed medical conditions as a result of their employment. There's no medical diagnosis required there. Now, you could make an argument for saying maybe there should be, but then this is going to take time away from doctors who are already stretched. But look, there are a whole range of benefits that don't require a medical certificate or some sort of medical diagnosis. For example, universal credit doesn't require it. Job seekers allowance doesn't require it. Housing support doesn't require it. Child-related benefits generally don't require it. Pension age benefits don't require it. And maternity and care-related support doesn't. For example, when it comes to maternity leave or maternity support, obviously, if somebody has a child, there's a record of that, so you don't need to do an extra diagnosis related to that. But there is support for people after they've had a child. So, these are simple things. And of course, if you add all of these up, you're going to arrive, if somebody's able to claim a lot of them or all of them, then you're going to come up to a significant sum. But sure, once again, if you look at it in detail, you understand why some people can access some benefits and some people can't access certain benefits. You can understand why if somebody's able to claim a lot of them because they're in a particular condition, or they're receiving support from somebody else, that you need to do that. You need to give people the support they need. And in some cases, it's going to be expensive. But not everyone is in that situation. So when we hear about how, the welfare bill needs to come down, we need to punish everyone because of a small group of people, either who are, in their eyes, gaming the system or who are taking too much, you're harming everyone, including the most vulnerable in society. Most people don't want to be on benefits. Most people would prefer to be working or doing something else. So this, once again, scapegoating of the most vulnerable is really concerning, especially from someone like Tom Swarbrick, who's generally on the right side of these things. So I'm disappointed that he or his researchers didn't take 5 minutes of time to go after the details, to look into this. And it took somebody on YouTube, a 2-bit YouTuber, to respond to this. I don't like responding to these things. I don't think it should be necessary. But I think it's important to call it out. There are people who are reliant on these benefits, and we hear commentators and we hear politicians talking about taking them away. What sort of society is that? Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.